year. Wally is a servant leader and transformative change maker, and Wally believes in the power of human connection and ideas, and that connections must be made to improve our world. Welcome, Wally.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for the collaboration. I want to thank you all for being here. Today is a really special day. We have a fantastic program lined up for you. We have Prexy Nesbitt, who we're going to bring on stage in a little while. He is someone that walked with Dr. King. He is someone that marched with Dr. King. He's also someone that, through his work in Africa, got to really get to know Nelson Mandela, Madiba. So we have a lot of exciting stuff. Now, if you know anything about NAACP, you also know that in addition to being about social justice, we love our children. And we use every opportunity to highlight the works that they do, the work that they do. And so we're going to start off with our Inspiration at the Heart series, and we're going to bring in Liana Retief. She's going to have two beautiful renditions, and then we're going to have Barbara Whitehorn, and she's going to give you her own rendition of a hip-hop type of energy. I call her Diana Hip-Hop Ross. So, spoken rap, so that's what she's going to do. So, please give it up for Liana. Liana, where are you? Now, I'll tell you, the first time I saw Liana sing, I was just mesmerized and awestruck. She has a beautiful voice. She's a little nervous, but as you'll all see, there is no reason for her to be nervous. Please give it up for Liana. Now we're going to have our second performer, Barbara Whitehorn. Come on stage. Give it up. Now that was intense. Barbara, thank you for blessing us with your voice, with your passion, with your insights. Liana, thank you for blessing us with your soul. We love you all. So, our next program is going to be the introduction of Prexy Nesbitt. And so I'll just read his bio because I think it's really important. Although he probably does not want me to read it, but I will still do it all the same. So Prexy, he's a prominent American activist, educator, international speaker. He is known for his lifelong commitment to social justice and anti-racism. He played a pivotal role in the global movement against apartheid in South Africa, forging coalition and mobilizing support in the United States and worldwide to fight for African liberation. Nesbitt's activism brought him close in contact with African liberation leaders, and he came to personally know Nelson Mandela. At the same time, in the United States, when Prexy came back, he was looking for other ways to get engaged. And that took him to march alongside Dr.
And Dr. King heard about this church, and in the 1964-65 period, when they were doing work in the South, Dr. King realized, as many of you may know, that the North was as challenged as the South. And he moved his movement up into Chicago. And at that time, Chicago was run by a dictator. His name was Daley, Mayor Richard Daley. And many of the black pastors and churches in Chicago were scared to have Dr. King come into their church for fear of what Daley would do to them to retaliate. And my little old church on the west side, Warren Avenue Congregational Church, and I have to tell you a funny story. It had no black folk in that church. And my parents, being the incredible, courageous, path-breaking people they were, they decided to integrate the church using me as the guinea pig. And so I had a broken leg at the time. I was 4 or 5 years old. So they sent me to the Sunday school to integrate the church. And I always used to say to them, well, what if something happened? How can I run away from those white folk over there in that church? But it was a very, very welcoming church. And it went on from that to welcome Dr. King and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference into that church. At this time, in 1965-66, I was attending college down in southern Ohio called Antioch College, Yellow Springs, Ohio. And I decided I wanted to do some study in Africa. And so I went and applied to go to Zimbabwe, Rhodesia. It was all set up, ready to go. A week before I was time for me to go, the whole thing got canceled because the FBI had found out about my church, about the role my family had on the west side, and they put the pressure on the Rhodesian government, and the Rhodesian government canceled me out. But I found another place to go to, another university, new, brand new, the University of Dar es Salaam. And so I went to the University of Dar es Salaam for a year, incredible year. The things I learned were just unbelievable. If any of you have a chance to spend time on the African continent, do it, do it, do it. It gets such short shrift in this country. And please, I ask, beg, don't anybody ask me the standard question I get speaking about Africa in this country. That standard question is, did you see any lions? Please, don't anybody ask me that. I'd much rather tell you about these extraordinary people that I was with and spent time with. I got back from Tanzania and was at my church. My parents told me, succeeded in tackling what was one of the most segregated cities in the United States, that they never really got through it. Every effort that could be made was made by Dr. King and his staff. And I got to be a part of that whole staff. It was an amazing experience to work with and learn from these people who had such experience integrating this country, whether it was in Birmingham or in Mississippi or in South Carolina, all these places, they knew how to work and make change. I had the extraordinary experience of listening to Dr. King many, many, many times. And one of the things that I'm very sad about in this country, and I urge you to follow up on my comments today with the following. Every young want me to say to you that we have so much more work to do. As we're meeting today, on the eve of the inauguration of a president who has said that he's getting ready to go down to Chicago and send all these people who come just to work, send them out of this country, pick them up, arrest them. We have work to do. We cannot let that happen.
Sadly today, if you're that diversity, equity, and inclusion is the new big bad wolf. And this reminds me also of an African proverb that says, the sheep will spend its entire life fearing the wolf, only to be eaten by the shepherd. In this 1967 speech, The Other America, Dr. King foresaw the challenges we face today. He said, and I quote, "Our nation has constantly taken positive steps forward on the question of racial justice and racial equality. And we have. We are living proof of that. We have white people, we have black people, we have people of different faiths in the room. That is evidence of that." Dr. King also said, over and over at the same time, it has made certain backward steps, end quote. And that is also true. The late John Lewis, who I had the pleasure of meeting before his death, fate brought us together, and the few minutes I spent with him, really is enough to really fill my cup for a lifetime. I saw service, I saw love, I saw just a humble man who took his time to talk to a stranger, to learn about the things that were going on in Rochester, to learn about the things that were going on in La Crosse. The work that we did with Franciscan sisters, I established an interfaith group. He took the time to listen, and he gave some encouragement. John Lewis, in his final essay, he said, "Though I was surrounded by two loving parents, plenty of brothers, sisters, and cousins, dear love cannot protect me from the unholy oppression waiting just outside that family circle. Unchecked, unrestrained violence and government-sanctioned terror had the power to turn a simple stroll to the store for some Skittles, or an innocent jog down a lonesome country road into a nightmare. If we are to survive as a unified nation, we must discover what so readily takes root in our heart that could rob kids in Mother Emanuel Church of South Carolina to be killed, or those concert goers in Las Vegas to be shot, or Elijah McClain, the gifted violinist, to be choked to death." John Lewis continued, quote, "Like so many young children today, I was searching for a way out, or some might say a way in. And then I heard the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King on an old radio. He was talking about the philosophy and discipline of nonviolence. He said, we are all complicit when we tolerate injustice. He said, it is not enough to say it will get better by and by. He said, each of us has a moral obligation to stand up, speak up, and speak out." He said, when you see something, you must do something. Democracy is not a state, it is an act. And each generation must do its part to help rebuild what we call the beloved community, a nation and world society at peace by itself. So growing up in Nigeria and Togo, I witnessed firsthand the harm caused by dictatorship.
It was my first time attending a gospel show, and man, that was really amazing. Like, it was a holocaust of emotions, from crying to shouting to screaming of joy, and there was some, I had tears, believe me.
The audience was just in it the whole time, dancing, clapping, singing, shouting, standing up, laughing, just a purely joyful event. We appreciate the sponsors of this event. It was wonderful.
So, as you can see, we are doing great work at NAACP. And again, this is just some of the things that we have been doing. And we are doing. Our Rise to Youth program continues. And right now we have applications that are open. And so Rise to Youth program is really collaboration between Rochester branch of NAACP and Mayo Clinic. And the goal is really a leadership program to build self-efficacy. You know, and we talk about servant leadership, we talk about wellness, we talk about emotional intelligence, you know, how to execute your ideas, respectful relationship. We talk about all of that stuff in the Rise for Youth program. And students as well as parents have mentioned how this is important for them. It's also an opportunity for leaders to give back. We have a lot of leaders that are managing multi-million-dollar of portfolio, taking your time to serve and to give back to these students. So, and we have community members also bringing their talents and investing in these students. So, again, this is how we make a change. Everybody contributes, everybody puts in time. So, engage with the NAACP. You know, I encourage you to become a member. All it takes is $30 to become a member. You know, this year also marks a remarkable milestone in our NAACP history. So if you look at the national NAACP, we are 160 years old. But in Rochester, this is our year where we are 65 years old. So this is going to be our diamond jubilee. So this year is our diamond jubilee. We have a bunch of things that we are going to be announcing, but it is going to be celebrated. And we have a lot of our history makers and our founders that are still here and alive, and we're going to do things to honor and to share just how the NAACP in Rochester got started. We have Mrs. Gibbs right there, you know, so her husband, Mr. Gibbs, for our next event, we are going to be marching at 10:30. We have some time for people to start and make their signs. And so please, kiddos, adults, we're going to be marching inside the skyways. And so we're going to keep everyone safe. But please make your signs, and then we'll be right outside of the ballroom, and then we'll get going. And then at 12 p.m., we're going to have the Community Peoples Program. We're going to have a panel discussion. We're going to have more singing from our talented youth. We're going to introduce our new executive committee from the Rochester branch of the NAACP. We had just so many great talented leaders. We have, Cleo Pearson. We have Dr. Legoday. We have Dr. Jill Otley, Joe Phillips, Jessica Phillips, Bree Rollins. I'm trying to see who else am I forgetting. We have obviously Phil Wheeler. So many leaders that are joining us, and a lot of great Bud Whitehorn. We have so many people that are joining us, and we are going to be announcing some more leadership announcements shortly, but people are learning about NAACP, you're engaging, and you're bringing your talents, and so we encourage you all to do the same. So thank you. So now we're going to make the signs.
Do we just kill it? Do they kill it?
Yeah, let's just